Здравствуйте всем, привет всем.
Я на стену сейчас поставила. Нормально.
Так, на чем мы остановились? Заморская муза. Так, смотри, галерея, караван-сарай, перекресток Базар-Роуд и Гермес-авеню. Базар-Роуд. И Гермес-авеню. Привет, Вань.
Надо положить.
Так, а Гермес-авеню. А, Гермес-авеню. Вот он. Вот он. Вот сюда.
Mr. Holmes, you came. Oh, how kind. Though now, of course, I realize it is because of my game, not the works on display.
It needn't be one or the other. Your man's disguise was easily debunked, Mr. Vogel, but I shall admit that you planted in me the seed of curiosity.
Ah, terrific! I had no doubt you'd put the pieces together. Let us call it an opening gambit before the real game begins.
So, this little game of yours, what's it about?
An enigma to solve. A locked area in the basement with no windows found brutally vandalized. I have no clue how it was possible.
And this locked area downstairs, what exactly was it?
The under gallery. It's always shut, and I'm the only one with the key.
Ah, so this is your private collection, not part of the gallery.
Oh, no! It's an exclusive exhibition of eccentric pieces. Only a select cadre of artists, investors, and collectors are admitted. Not everyone deserves to have their eyes opened.
What about this intrusion? What happened?
Last night, I was about to leave the gallery when I heard a noise downstairs. I went to the basement, but I didn't see anything out of the ordinary. It was admittedly a rudimentary inspection. It is not uncommon to get rats down there, so seeing nothing of note, I left and locked up the building. When I returned this morning, alas, I discovered that part of the exhibition had been torched, and there was no sign of the intruder. The mystery being, of course, that all the doors to the gallery were locked exactly as I left them.
And the door to the basement is the only entrance?
Correct. Tell me you're not intrigued.
Well, this matter is certainly within my wheelhouse.
This intrusion troubles me. Please take a look around if you're willing. The under gallery is through the door at the end.
I will see what I see.
You sure you don't like art, Sherry?
Интересная картина. Сюда.
Back home, we've got a taxidermist. He's gonna have a heart attack when he sees what I bring him.
Нифига.
A simplistic attempt at provocation.
Back home, we've got a taxidermist. He's gonna have a heart attack when he sees what I bring him. Sherry, how about some company in that dreary chamber of yours?
Leave my loneliness unbroken, John. A handprint of the thing from another world. But it looks fresh, and its coal origin ruins the effect of the extra mundane.
Но тут очевидно, что кто-то спрятался в гробе. В гробу.
Old, and hasn't been used for a long time. The left step's length is shorter than the right. It indicates that the walker was lame. Closed with a metal bolt.
Либо по трубе кто-то спустился.
Footprints. Size 9.5. A true artist never shows an unfinished piece. Sodden and mold-ridden. One presumes deliberately. The parasites of creativity, or just a reflection of the artist's recreational interests. Saturn devouring his sun. Oh, grim composition.
Unflinching in its ferocity, yet somehow beautiful.
A Malpal butt. Coal fingerprints. I think we're looking for a man with a coal moustache. Ugh, sheer vandalism. Only an ignorant person could do such a thing.
Да, он вылез из трубы, спрятался.
The intruder entered the basement through the coal chute. He used a magnet to open the hatch bolt. He accidentally pushed a shovel to the floor. Vogel heard the noise. At the sound of his approaching footsteps, the intruder hid inside the coffin. When Vogel entered the basement, he failed to notice anything strange and left without properly checking. The intruder waited until Vogel had left the caravanserai before burning the paintings in Wilde's room. But the vandalism was a cover for the theft. The pieces are not what I expected.
What do you think my collection is about?
It's a reflection on mortality. Nothing lasts forever, no beauty sustains itself, and everything succumbs to darkness. Am I right?
I don't know.
Well, that's absurd. Of course you know. It's your gallery.
There is no one answer, no singular truth, but many filtered through the subjective mind. That forgetting, embellishing, lying machine. Besides, what's wrong with a lie if it makes life more interesting?
What's wrong with a lie? It corrupts the ability of others to behave freely and rationally.
Men never act freely and rationally anyway. It matters not what is or isn't in the end. The only important thing is how you feel. And I simply want to feel and consume as much as I can. Don't you?
Feelings are simply one's animal ancestry trying to wrest back control of the brain. I try to avoid the distraction.
You try not to feel, even in a place like this? None of it moves you?
To be frank, I struggle to maintain even a whit of interest in art.
But Mr. Holmes, it is joy incarnate, mankind's greatest achievement.
Mankind's highest achievement above all others is objective and rational thought.
I see then why you dislike art, for it means whatever you want it to.
Or perhaps, Mr. Vogel, I was lying.
Aha.
Mr. Vogel, I have confirmed that the intruder was an average-sized, flexible Malpal smoker with a limp. As it happens, the vandalism was a cover. The true intent was to steal a painting without your knowledge. The fact is, one of the pieces from the Wild Room is not in the wreckage.
What? That is extraordinary.
This thief was familiar with the gallery and he was sporting a limp. Do any of your clients or artists come to mind?
My. Your attention to detail is remarkable, Mr. Holmes. I should introduce you to Bosch's works. Alas, I'm afraid I cannot suggest a culprit.
The fire was a clever attempt to hide a stolen painting, even if it didn't fool me. I found the remnants of an empty frame in the pile of ashes. The canvas had been removed. Do you know which paintings in the Wild Room may have interested a thief? Were any particularly expensive?
Those pieces belong to a well-known artist named Boniface Mercurio. They're controversial, but not of a notably high value.
The intruder entered the basement through the coal chute. He used a magnet to open the latch and dislodged the shovel while doing so. That's the noise you heard yesterday. When you went downstairs to investigate, he hid in the coffin.
It seems I should have checked the space more thoroughly.
There's something more, is there not? I can see it in your eyes.
Indeed. There is another intriguing angle. I recently received an anonymous offer for one of Mercurio's works. The sum was more than fair, and indeed could have saved Mercurio from his artistic poverty. But he declined it.
Was it a performative whim? Some artists lionize pain and hardship as if their work would be worse after a meal and a hot bath.
I cannot tell. But not only did he refuse the deal, he insisted on displaying the painting in the public space. I was hoping to change his mind, but artists are a special breed of stubborn.
What was depicted in the piece?
A bound woman, wrapped in robes, being penetrated by a red devil that stared at us, the viewer. The beast had numerous tails growing from his back, and a large crowd gathered around the pair, silently watching the orgiastic scene.
Okay, well, given the nature of the other works on display, it's hard to see why that one stood out. What could possibly be its value?
The evaluation of art. After all, art is everything. A poem, a bruise, the beads of sweat.
So where can I find Boniface Mercurio?
I know he lives somewhere in Old City, but couldn't be more specific. He's a prominent figure, so finding him shouldn't be a problem.
Well, I believe I have enough to begin. Thank you, Mr. Vogel.
I'm delighted to have been able to please a friend. In return, I expect you...
Так. В ратуше может проверить. Или в газете. Скарлетт-стрит и Олив-стрит. Скарлетт-стрит. Ага. Олив-стрит. Ага, вот здесь.
Can you satisfy my curiosity?
It's funny when someone like you asks someone like me for help.
Selam. Hey.
Excuse me, just one question.
Sorry, but I never heard of this.
Возможно, здесь.
Can you satisfy my curiosity?
It's funny when someone like you asks someone like me for help.
Oh, I am bored. Call me when you find the answer.
Excuse me, young man. Where do you think you're going?
Greetings, ma'am. I'm looking for the...
I don't care who you're looking for. You shall not pass. No visitors allowed.
I wish to buy a painting from Mr. Boniface Mercurio. Is he at home?
Dearie, tell me, because old age has made me blind. Did someone write Information Bureau on my forehead? Because I'm not here to answer your questions. Entry is for residents only. If you aren't a resident, please leave, or I shall report you to the police.
То есть, надо замаскироваться под жильца. А если под художника замаскироваться?
Don't pass by. Let's pick something that suits you.
Смотри. Во. Ого, вот как раз прическа. Так, щетина у меня есть. А, есть щетина художника.
A good choice. A good choice indeed.
Bakın. Kim buradaydı?
Boniface, sweetie. Is that you?
А, ну да, типа она же плохо видит.
Old.
How are you, Mum? I'm ashamed to admit that I've lost my key. Do you have a spare?
For heaven's sake! How many times will you lose that key of yours? Of course
Please, accept my...
I would rather accept your rent. You promised to...
I will pay you, I promise, very soon.
You'd better do, my dear. Or else...
А его убили, да? Ага. Действительно.
The chest has been searched. Red skin, tails on the back, reminds me of Werder's description of the stolen painting. Red skin, tails on the back, reminds me of... Aunt May whiskey, brandy bucks. Quite a collection he had here. I wonder where he got that fancy camera. Despite the overall tendency towards mess, you cannot sit with the drawer pulled out like this. Someone left it after searching. It appears the wine was truly awful. The wound is precise. It was inflicted by a razor or a knife. Judging by post-mortem rigidity, the body lay here for 1 or 2 days. Could be the murder weapon. A normal kitchen knife. Soaked in blood. It seems as if the puddle of blood was here before the rags.
Don't look at me like that, Sherry. I will not touch that dirty floor.
Look at this, John. Isn't it our stolen demon? The photograph was not pulled out in time. Such a waste of material.
Do you know what makes a lady happy? Paid rent?
The blood has dried.
I've heard of this style of painting. It is called expressionism.
Да, вот он хватает нож.
Mercurio was developing photographs when the intruder snuck in. Mercurio heard him coming. While the thief was searching the chest, the painter ran towards him with a bottle in his hand. He smashed it across the thief's head. The intruder had no choice but to defend himself, and the weapon of opportunity happened to be a kitchen knife. Mercurio stepped aside to grab the painting, but the wine-blinded thief attacked Mercurio's throat. When the thief came to his senses, he saw Mercurio bleeding on the floor. He grabbed the rags and tried to bandage him, but it was too late. Why did Mercurio attempt to snatch the painting in the middle of a fight? To strike the intruder? Not with his painting, it was too important to him. It's time for some chemical... magic, John.
That doesn't look like the painting we need, Sherry.
As expected, but that doesn't mean it won't tell us anything. Let's put it on the easel where it belongs.
Здесь не хватает черепа, да?
I guess this is his most ordinary painting. Spot the two differences, John? Nothing behind it. If the intruder didn't take it, the skull should be somewhere here. Nothing behind it. Monster was actually a man. Poor girl. John, you ought to be thrilled. We are now hunting the devil himself.
What were you saying, Sherry? I was too busy sketching the scene, you know, crimes and such like, daily routine. Did you find something?
A photograph. It depicts a man in a red suit with tails sprouting from his back and multiple people in masks watching the scene. It all adds up. But the act of love, it wasn't given willingly, John. It was a violation. And the girl, she was with child.
Give that to me now. Did you recognize someone?
No. Although the victim is not from Cordona, she is African. Look at the ritual scars on her face.
Get that image out of your brain. You have to continue the investigation.
I must speak to the landlady. Perhaps she saw or heard something.
Sherry, you cannot tell her the truth about Mercurio. It will hurt her.
John, that's illogical. Sooner or later, she will come here and discover a corpse, and I still need to talk to her.
Just avoid mentioning corpse, all right? Stick to the character, tell her to call the police.
I'll take that into account.
And wait here. I've redrawn the people in the photograph. Now you can proceed with your investigation without those horrific details.
What's wrong, dear? You look like you've seen a ghost.
Can you tell me if anyone else has recently entered the flat?
Oh, you're talking about that limping man. I'm sorry I let him in. I was scared. And I thought maybe he would motivate you to find money so that you would pay your rent.
Can you describe him?
Oh, so you weren't at home. I was so certain you didn't leave your flat that day. He was of average height, had a limp and a tattoo on his neck, and he was smoking Malpal cigarettes. My husband used to smoke those. They
Can I ask a favor?
Of course, dearie.
Please call the police and ask them to enter the flat. And don't look inside until they come up.
What? What trouble have you stepped in this time?
It really doesn't matter. Thank you, Mum.
Phew, Sherry, that was close. But you did everything correctly. Now, take off your outfit. I can't let you walk around in a dead man's clothes.
Help me, please.
Go back to your fancy house.
Excuse me, just one question.
Stay away from me and from people like me too, or you'll regret it.
Are you able to help me?
My friend, I know nothing. I'm sorry.
This isn't working. You might need a different tack.
Can you satisfy my curiosity?
Are you talking to me? Get lost.
Can you satisfy my curiosity?
We should stick together, especially in times like this. I'll tell you everything I know.
Мост Виктории между Скалатио и Сильвером. Так, переоденемся. Под мостом они живут, значит.
Did you hear another sailor stranded on the beach? Did you hear another...
Угу. А, это другое дело. А, вон они где живут. Как туда спуститься? Смотри.
Beasts!
Excuse me, just one question.
I'm so sorry. I can't help you, sir.
Murderers!
They're completely livid.
First they come to our land, then they murder our people.
Drop them all into this... Sir, this place is off limits to the public. Please state your business or leave, or I shall request that the police escort you out.
My name is Sherlock Holmes. I'm a private investigator. I'm looking for a witness for a case.
A private investigator? Really? Even so, you're not authorized. I can't let you in.
And you are?
I'm Ronald Harlow, here to handle the refugee situation on behalf of City Hall. I'm the acting supervisor here, so I have full authority here to ask you to leave, or I shall order the police to detain you for trying to pass the blockade. Please, step back.
What about the murder that this crowd keeps shouting about?
It's mere assumption. I assure you that the situation is under the police's control.
This in the right way. You are obviously a professional and a responsible person, but you clearly have never handled a situation like this before.
I am handling it, Mr. Holmes. Don't question my capability here.
And tell me how you do it. You can't even calm this gathered crowd, and as for the police, they're not quite managing it either, are they? You consider yourself a problem solver, but until today, you've been solving problems sitting at your desk in a dark corner of a city hall room. Here, you need a more practical approach.
What are you driving at, Mr. Holmes?
I can help you to handle the situation if you're truly interested in solving things quickly and quietly.
And how exactly would you manage that?
Simply tell the police that I'm with City Hall and I'm permitted to investigate the scene. I'll work out the rest, but in return I need your help finding my witness. She's a young refugee. She's with child or was with child recently.
Look, there is indeed a dead body inside the camp. So even if the girl you are looking for is there, all the refugees are now being detained and interrogated by the police. They won't allow you to speak with her, and I can't do anything about that until the situation settles down.
So it's in our mutual interest to settle it.
Oh. I suppose that things are bad enough that I ought not shy away from help. All right, Mr. Holmes. I'll tell the police to allow you to come inside. Just tell me when you're ready.
Mr. Harlow, how did the refugees end up here exactly?
Oh, so you're not from around here yourself?
I've been away for some time, but I read the papers.
Yes, this whole story has been in the papers for almost a year now. They were smuggled to Cordona on a ship from Africa.
Smuggled? Then why didn't you deport them?
The smugglers managed to sneak them to shore and hide them inside an abandoned warehouse. When the police raided the warehouse and found the refugees there, the ship was already gone. We aren't even certain as to which ship it was. We have busy shipping routes with other colonies these days, you see.
So you decided to lock them up under a bridge?
There was no other option. We're still trying to work out what to do with them. I only hope we'll find a humane solution and not put them on a raft and float them out to sea.
Mr. Harlow, what exactly do you do here? What are your responsibilities?
What I do and what I am responsible for are two different realities, Mr. Holmes. On paper, I am in charge of the camp territory, security, provision, and the refugees in general. What I actually do most of the time is knock on every city hall door trying to obtain some funding, or at least rations for the camp.
The police here on City Hall's behalf too?
They are, minus those who came here after the body was found. The governor won't let the refugees disperse into the island, so there's a significant police presence guarding the camp. Naturally, they answer directly to the police. I have some influence here, but I'm not their direct authority.
I'm ready to take a look at the scene.
All right. Go inside the camp and find Inspector Tewksbury. Tell him I sent you. Say you're...
I'll find my...
So they keep these refugees under a bridge like proverbial trolls. No wonder the people outside are so disturbed.
Who the hell are you? How did you get in here?
Mr. Ronald Harlow let me in, sir. I'm Sherlock Holmes, a surveyor of refugee affairs with City Hall. You're Inspector Tewksbury, I presume?
A surveyor? What does that even mean?
In short, I've been sent to conduct an extensive report on the incident for the Colonial Office and to assess all the damage inflicted on state property.
Got it. Another paperworm sent to count money and get food for archive mold. Go on, look around, but don't make yourself too at home. As if I didn't have enough problems before you appeared.
Could you first tell me what happened here?
What happened? People from the bridge above the camp heard a woman screaming and saw a mass of refugees attacking a man. Clearly not a refugee. When the camp guards came by, the man was floating in the sewage canal with a knife in his chest. Bam. A murder. Big news for Cordona.
I'm sure. Thank you, Inspector. And none of the refugees were harmed?
One fellow was cut. He's lying over there near their kitchen. He's in a bad way.
You mentioned a woman screaming who attracted the bypassers on the bridge. Was she harmed?
No, she's all right, but perhaps the whole debacle started because of her. She started wailing and the refugees stood up for the girl.
And where is this young woman now?
Back there in the shacks, same as the rest of the refugees. She's been questioned by my men, but she's just some refugee girl. Can't understand much English.
Did you learn anything about the dead man?
The fellow looks like a thug. I've had dozens like him fished out of the sea over the past 20 years. Ever since these refugees arrived, there have been people on Cordona with bad blood in them. My best bet is that this thug had something against them too.
And no clue as to his identity?
He had some items on his body, but nothing to indicate who he was or where he was from.
I think I should catalogue his possessions in my records.
Go on. They're on the table near the body.
Do you have any suspects yet?
You're joking, right? I've got a whole camp full of suspects. And if you ask me, this bloke had it coming. Better bury him and forget about the whole thing. And now there's a crowd gathered at the camp, and my superiors say we must thoroughly interrogate the refugees. At least those who can understand any English.
Do you believe that your superiors wish to get rid of the refugees?
I think that both our superiors would rather keep the story quiet. Since that's an unaffordable luxury now, they're looking how to protect their public image. That's why I have to waste my time waiting for my people to turn every stone and befriend every refugee.
Here we go again. Number of hours on Cordona before stumbling upon another dead body? 0.
А это не тот ли хромой мужичок, которого мы ищем?
A simple leather sheath. Perfect for a dirk. Malpal, soaked with salt water. £1,000. A fair sum, especially considering British currency isn't very common in Cordona.
Are these the rations the refugees get from the authorities? How do people even survive out here?
С татуировками.
An interesting tattoo. Does it mean something? An interesting tattoo. A steel dirk, sharp. A common accessory among sailors and soldiers. I'd say the blade penetrated upward, however the wound is too messy to be certain. Coal dust under the nails. I don't see much coal around here. Heavy boots, with one sole far more worn than the other. This man was limping John. A violent death. This man, limping. Coal dust. I think we're onto something here, John.
If they find out about the passage, everything will go.
Such a mess. Let's figure it out.
If they find out about the...
I was being very stealthy, Sherlock, and you threw it all away. Come on, pull yourself together.
If they find out about the passage... Nobody will know anything if you keep your bloody mouth shut.
Sherry, just look at this. Living quarters in a sewer. What kind of a genius bureaucrat came up with this idea?
Can you satisfy my curiosity?
Nothing I can tell you, sir, but others might know more.
Help me, please.
Nothing I can tell you, sir, but others might know more.
You obviously haven't thought this all through. Or are you just annoying these people on purpose?
Could you help me?
Nothing I can tell you, sir, but others might know more.
A man's footprint. A heavy boot with a worn-out sole. Police boots. Always happy to trample evidence. Someone bled profusely here. A fresh crack, as if the crate was hit recently. A furrow in the ground. A blood trail leading to or from the canal. Clearly a left handprint here. Carnelian agate beads, a traditional African adornment. The blood sprayed off the blade after the strike. No hint of blood or impact. It might have been used as an improvised weapon. The cut is deep, potentially serious if not treated immediately. He is in shock, feverish and dehydrated.
Sherry, you know first aid. Surely you have a duty to help this man. You can't leave him to certain death.
Can you satisfy my curiosity?
Nothing I can tell you, sir, but others might know more.
Да по-разному. Типа эту игру, может, просто не особо смотрел.
Someone was dragged against their will. You know what? I'd like to understand.
What?
How did our dead man end up inside the camp in the first place? That will kill, not save him. It won't do any good. I'll use it to create a solution.
Потише.
I can use this to stop the infection from spreading.
Сейчас сделаем.
Мать.
Сейчас получше должно быть.
I've plated all the ingredients, now to prepare the first aid solution.
Нормально, да?
Thank you.
This should make you feel better, my friend. Now remain lying down and drink as much water as you can.
Well done, Sherry. At least he won't die from the infection.
Is this familiar to you?
A solid question, sir, but I don't have the answer.
The refugees have been detained and will not leave until all the circumstances are clarified. Back off.
It's unlikely anyone could get in or out of the camp by water without alerting the police guards.
По лестнице, может, сверху типа спустился.
No, it's too short for these walls or cliffs.
Не-а. А вот через решетку тоже вряд ли.
Sealed shut. I doubt our man could get through these grates.
Как он мог попасть сюда? Так, следы у нас идут отсюда.
Back off.
No one deserves to end up in a place like this.
You still here? Your problem, not mine. Your problem, not mine. Your problem, not mine.
The guards at the sewers were speaking about taking refugees out of the camp, do you?
And you do, obviously.
And this doesn't bother you as an officer of the law?
I can neither punish them nor put them on the right track, if that's what you're asking. Maybe your friends at City Hall could do something about it, but I seriously doubt that. To be honest, I'm sick and tired of being frowned on for my uniform. If those fine gentlemen you've eavesdropped on are in some shady business, that's on their heads. I'm busy. Don't you have papers to fill? City Hall, motherheads.
A single Malpalbut. Roadman cigarettes. A brand highly regarded by law enforcement officers. So there wasn't any sophisticated infiltration plan. The good old police just let the man into the camp. Now we have everything we need to get the full picture of what happened at the camp.
I hope I'm not making a grave mistake in trusting you, Mr. Holmes.
Так, начнем оттуда. Ну да, он ее тащил. Этот его ударил дубиной. А чем они отличаются? А чем они отличаются? А, ну да, вот она, я держал за руку, получается. Да.
You're not even trying, Sherry. Concentrate.
Так.
You're not even trying, Sherry. Concentrate.
Он сам себя ножом, получается, проткнул, да.
So, we have a thug who came to take a refugee woman with him. She resisted, but he dragged her by force. One of the refugees stood in his way, armed with a stick, yet he could do nothing against a cutthroat with a blade. The man didn't anticipate that the other refugees would intervene and stand against him. In the confusion, the woman managed to break free. The thug took fright and fled. He was stopped by the falling crates. He stumbled and fell, piercing his chest with his own blade. However, the wound didn't cause instant death. He managed to stand, but still bleeding, he lost his balance on the bridge and fell. Before all of this, the man had freely entered the camp through the main entrance. The police admitted him after they had a short smoke together.
You live by the sword, you die by the sword. In our man's case, it's the same sword.
Back off.
Mr. Harlow, your refugees didn't murder anyone.
What? Pray tell me what you've learned.
All right, listen carefully. This might solve one problem for you, but will create a few more.
Oh, well, that's a great start.
The man came to the camp intending to kidnap one of your refugees, a woman. What he didn't expect was that the refugees would stand up to protect the woman. A brawl had broken out. In the chaos of it, the man stumbled over those crates and fell on his own blade.
How do you know he fell on his own blade?
The wound in his chest was inflicted from an unusual angle. It was not an offensive stab, shall we say. The refugees didn't touch him. And judging by the blood at the scene, the intruder managed to raise himself but was unable to walk very far. He ultimately fell into the canal.
But how did he sneak into the camp? Why didn't the police see him?
And this is where your new problems emerge, Mr. Harlow.
What do you mean?
You're not a dull-witted man. You know what I mean. There is no feasible way to get into the camp without the police guards knowing of it.
The pile of mess I had to sort out has just become bigger, but somehow that doesn't surprise me. Anyway, I thank you for your help, Mr. Holmes. I'll take it from here. Meanwhile, I'll make sure the police aren't detaining the refugees any longer. You can go back in and look for your witness.
Do you think one small clerk can make any difference in this place?
Who knows, John? Just one ill-fitting cog could make the whole machine crumble.
You're disturbing a hornet's nest here, son.
I owe you a lot, Mr. Holmes.
Can I ask you a question?
They often take us from the camps to work. Most don't mind, though. It's the only way we get a glimpse of freedom.
So there's a smuggling ring in the camp. This wasn't the first time that someone freely entered the camp to take a refugee out.
At least it was certainly his last time. My gut tells me that we'll learn more about this ring when we find out where the thug came from.
Do you know anything about this?
Sorry. We don't see much here.
Вот это.
You're the one who tended to our man's wounds. I thank you greatly. The police didn't allow us to help him.
The police will leave you alone now. I've proven to them that the man who came into the camp died due to his own foolishness.
Thank you for standing up for us. But nobody would help us without a reason. You're here because you want something.
Yes, I do. I need to speak with the girl drawn here.
The dead man came for her too. He wanted to take the girl away, but we won't allow her to be hurt again. What do you want from Naylor?
Naylor. She was hurt some time ago. I'm here to find the people who did this and bring them to justice. And to find them, I need Naylor's help. Will you let me speak to her?
Justice. There's no justice on this land. But you helped us, so maybe your words are not empty. You can speak to Naylor, if she wants it. But I will be watching you.
Hello, Naylor? My name is Sherlock. I know someone hurt you. I am here to help. I'm trying to find the people involved and bring them to justice. Please. There is a photograph, and I'm sorry, it is terrible, but I simply must ask. Where did this happen? What can you tell me about these people? Christ, Sherlock. Naylor, I'm sorry. I'm not very good at this.
You come here for me, but you are rude and cruel and condescending. A cross. The man had this cross. Now go away. Leave us be. I do not need another white man's help.
Glad that wasn't me.
Not my best work, John. By a long shot. Naylor doesn't want us meddling. I'm starting to wonder what this all achieves.
But she helped you anyway. Now we know that maniac's face and the cross he wore, we can still catch him.
I owe you a lot, Mr. Holmes.
Привет. Интересно. Расследования такие, ну, достаточно запутанные, но интересно. В принципе, не хуже прошлых частей. Дополнительных всяких расследований куча тоже. Так. Ага. Блин, походу в мэрию надо идти, что ли, тогда. Вот ратуша.
Guests of Cordona, the treasures await you.
Чиновники, британцы. Род занятий? Да. Томас Нортон. Ага, британский посол на кордоне 1 марта 1978 года. Есть свой кабинет в ратуше. Надо поспрашивать.
Could you...
If I knew, but unfortunately, I don't.
Have you found anything helpful?
Excuse me, just one question.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Could you help me?
I usually have an answer for everything, but not for this.
А кого спросить? Типа, никто не знает о нем ничего.
May I ask for your assistance?
Sorry, but I've never heard of it.
Oh, I am bored. Call me when you find the answer.
Is this familiar to you?
I can't help you, friend.
Excuse me, just one question.
Sorry, but I never heard of this.
You obviously haven't thought this all through.
Can you satisfy my curiosity?
These people on purpose.
В смысле? Из них никто не может помочь. Может, работяга?
May I ask for your assistance?
His Majesty came out of his palace. I know nothing.
Time to check your who, what, and what, Sherry. Who are you asking? About what and dressed as what?
Странно, что в ратуше никто не знает про него. На улице что-то спрашивать.
Guests of Cordona, the treasures await you.
Could you help me?
I'm sorry, but I've never heard of that.
Can I ask you a question?
That's not something I know, sir. Someone else might know more.
This isn't work.
Так, давай еще раз. Назначен британским послом на кордоне. Есть свой кабинет в ратуше. Ну, это же ратуша. Да, ратуша кордона.
Could you help me?
Sir, I don't know. Try asking someone else.
May I ask you something?
Nothing I can tell you, sir, but others might know more.
Time to check your who, what, and what, Sherry. Who are you asking? About what and dressed as what?
Пройти никуда нельзя. А, вот, смотри, Томас Нортон. Это он? Да.
If you're here on matters of signing up for military service, come back tomorrow. Our department needs to straighten out some business.
Пятно. Так, что еще? Ага, вот это. Но мне кажется, его не то чтобы совесть мучает. Хотя... Не спал ночью, нет времени бриться, носит не снимая, работает допоздна. Вино. Все-таки мне кажется, что его совесть мучит. Неспроста же он пытается фотографию с картины типа выкрасть.
Why are you staring at me like I'm a Madame Tussauds figure? Didn't you hear what I just said?
You blame yourself for what you did. Won't be any good unless you confess to me, so I'll try to be polite.
What sort of did are we talking about? Are you from the press?
I'm here because of Naylor.
Who?
You don't remember her name.
Lad, if you won't tell me where you came, I'll call for someone here to sort...
Do you recognize this man?
We definitely look alike. But you have the wrong person.
Really? Then you won't mind if I pass this along to the newspaper?
All right. All right. Is this about money, as you said in the letter? What kind of sum are we talking about?
I've never written a single word to you. Bribery, not my style.
So, that letter, it wasn't from you?
Well, it appears that more and more people in the city are finding out about your despicable hobby, doesn't it? You're in the clutches of justice, and very soon they will squeeze you. It's in your best interest to cooperate.
Fine. I suppose now we have a nice long talk. Do you...
Sherlock Holmes. And I do not.
Shame. All the best discussions are accompanied by a glass of whiskey. But out of respect for you...
Respect?
Where are my manners? My name is Thomas Norton, a British envoy in Cordona on a military mission. So...
You mentioned blackmail. Tell me about it.
All right. A couple of days ago, I received an anonymous letter. It said that in the art gallery at Caravansary there exists a painting that incriminates me. The blackmailer made it clear that if there is a painting, then a photograph exists too. And I should be wary of what it might do to my reputation.
What does the blackmailer want?
Money, of course. What else do such people want?
So
Needless to say, I don't remember anyone taking photographs at the party. Up until the last moment, I hoped he was bluffing. But he wasn't, as you've just proven to me.
Show me the letter.
I burnt it as soon as I read it. I've left enough evidence. There's no need for it.
So, let's return to the beginning. What happened at the party?
I vaguely remember that night. As usual at such parties, you meet people, you talk with them, they invite you to spend some time alone with them. What can I say? I got myself mixed up with the wrong company, and somebody must have mixed some psychoactive substance in my drink. After that, it's all blurry. I completely lost my sanity. I made a terrible mistake which I regret deeply.
You don't say. Do refugee girls often appear on the menu at those types of parties?
It's rather rare.
So you didn't attend the party to engage in an exotic experience involving a vulnerable woman unable to accuse you of assault?
I would never have planned such a terrible thing. What happened was just bad circumstance.
The painting that depicted you in the image of the devil was stolen by a mercenary. Did you have anything to do with it?
I might be a rotten person, sir, but hiring criminals for illicit purposes is not in my daily schedule.
And buying the painting in an attempt to hide the crime, is that on your daily schedule?
What would you do in my situation?
I would never put myself in such a situation.
You're young. I could never have imagined myself in my current position. Yet, here I am in front of you. We all make mistakes, Mr. Holmes. And I'm no exception.
Boniface Mercurio, does the name mean anything to you?
He's an artist, right?
The one responsible for the painting that compromises you. I found him dead in his room.
Oh, that is bad. Wait, you don't think that I have anything to do with this?
You had motive to kill him.
Maybe I did, but listen. I know how this looks, but murder? Mercutio.
Mercurio.
Well, him, yes. I thought he could have been the blackmailer. But I was too afraid to make any hasty decisions. There were plenty of ways to fail by making a move, so I chose to wait. To see what he would do next. You have to believe me.
I don't believe people, I believe evidence.
Then look at the evidence. Mr. Holmes, I've built my entire career on hard work and uncompromising dedication to the crown. I made a mistake, but I'm not a villain from some cheap adventure fiction. By putting me behind bars, you will benefit precisely no one.
Rotting in prison is the least you deserve, but I have a better idea. You will make amends and help the ones you hurt. Use your connections to help patriate the refugees, find them decent homes, give them jobs. There must be a meaning to your position and my decision.
Yes, all right, I can do that. So, will you give me the photograph now?
That's not all. Naylor deserves the very utmost of what you can do.
Help the girl? I can't risk the press paying extra attention to her. I will do anything except that.
I need to think this all through. Don't do anything foolish in the meantime.
What makes you think you can decide what's best for these people?
Such is the arrogance of British imperialism. I take your point.
Но это же еще не все. Вот, да. Есть зацепка еще с татуировкой.
Have you thought?
Not. Help me, please.
Sorry, but I never heard of this.
Are you able to help me?
That's not something I know, sir. Someone else might know more.
This isn't working. You might need a different tab.
Have you found anything helpful?
Так, а если сохраниться и попробовать отдать, может это по идее дело-то не завершит.
Have you?
Almost.
Well, I wouldn't be standing here in this fancy office if I didn't know how to pull the right string. The local governor will receive a decree signed by the House of Lords containing a request.
From where did you?
I never asked you how you found the photograph.
But how can I?
Ugh. I presume you do believe it. The initiator of the refugee salvation will be none other than the British envoy, savior and protector of those in need. It's a win situation for me too. Now, what about the photograph?
You deserve to be punished, but the greater good is what matters here. I won't bargain it for justice for Naylor.
I'm glad that this situation is over.
It will be over when you settle the matter of the refugees.
You have my word, Mr. Holmes.
Mr. Holmes, you've returned. Have you uncovered anything new about the theft?
I've brought news, but not all of it will please you.
Fill me in, Mr. Holmes. I won't shoot the messenger.
I tracked down Bonner.
I presume he wasn't delighted?
He was not having a good day.
Oh, sweet Mercurio.
I located the thief, but found him...
Huh, he's dead.
It was an accident at the
Life is nothing. What about the stolen...
Unfortunately, I could not...
Oh, Mr. Holmes, such disappointing news.
I'm afraid the case...
I suppose if you were unable to find it... Oh, but I can tell. What happened to your crusade of truth?
No truth will satisfy...
It was not an attack, Mr. Holmes. If you've chosen not...
It is...
Well, now that we've resolved all of our outstanding... I am told it belongs...
Надо загружаться. Все-таки можно найти картину, значит.
Guests of Cordona, the treasures await you.
Help me, please.
I'd tell you if I knew, but unfortunately, I don't.
Are you able to help me?
I have a question too. Who looks an idiot in his fancy clothes? It's you!
Time to check your who, what, and what, Sherry. Who are you asking?
Мне кажется, надо поспрашивать бандитов об этой татуировке. А почему костюм снимается? Ну вот, все, бандит.
About what and dressed as what?
Could you help me?
Nah, first I've heard of it.
Can you satisfy my curiosity?
I would like to help a companion in misfortune, but
These people on purpose.
По-моему, здесь много бандитов было.
Are you able to help me?
I can't say I've ever heard about that.
Can you satisfy my curiosity?
not my problem.
Oh, I am bored. Call me when you find the answer.
May I ask for your assistance?
Don't jump at people like that.
Do you know anything about this?
You think it's funny to bother me?
Oh, I am bored. Call me when you find the answer.
Is this familiar to you?
What make you think I can be of any help?
Так.
Do you know anything about this?
Not my problem.
Is this familiar to you?
Don't distract me from my duties.
You obviously haven't thought this all through. Or are you just annoying these people on purpose?
Can I ask you a question?
Sorry, sir, I can't help you.
May I ask you something?
If you ask that again, I'll find out where you live and I'll break your windows.
Oh, I am bored. Call me when you find the answer.
Can I ask you a question?
Stay away from me and from people like me.
А может, с этим надо поговорить? С инспектором, который у входа стоял. Ну, где лагерь беженцев. Может, он что-то знает?
I owe you a lot, Mr. Holmes.
You still... Go and bother someone else with this, son.
The intruder has a most peculiar tattoo on his neck, 2 lines and a point. Do you know anything about it?
You really want to know, kid? Why? You want to play a policeman or something?
I'm sure you have it in your records, so it won't hurt if I have it in mine.
In my records, it's just a tattoo, as it should be in yours. Ah, to hell with you. Suit yourself as to what you're going to do with it. Off the record, though, such tattoos are often connected to a man named Mr. Niccolo Bernadotti.
Bernadotti, you say?
A respectable businessman in Scalario. Between the colonies and the mainland. His people can be identified by an obscure tattoo. But these are all merely rumors, you see. If Mr. Bernadotti...
А вот теперь в полицию еще раз проверим.
Is this... I just need to collect my thoughts. An impressive slice of life. The police had a lot on him, and at the same time, nothing at all. Amateurs.
Так, смотри, адрес какой? Базар Роуд, перекресток Роуман Роуд.
to see you.
А, Роман Роуд. Это не то. Ага, вот Роман Роуд. Базар Роуд. Здесь что ли? А, вот это. Да.
It seems they're not expecting guests.
I won't wait for an invitation, John.
Что, сейчас драка будет?
These workers don't look like your average Cordona folk.
They're refugees from the camp. Can you satisfy my curiosity?
I'm sorry, but I've never heard of that.
Porcelain friend for every child. Shipped from Cape Town. The wine route from colony to colonies. Are you able to help me?
Sorry. We don't see much here.
That's our way in, Sherry.
This earthenware came a long way from the Staffordshire potteries.
Типа мне что, в ящик спрятаться?
Come on, Sherry. It's time to act.
Hey, yo. This is private property. You lost something.
I'm here to discuss business with Mr. Bernadotti. I tried the front door, but...
Mr. Bernadotti isn't seeing anyone. You have 3 seconds to walk away or you'll never walk again. Capito?
It's in Mr. Bernadotti's best interest to...
1.
Listen, the man Bernadotti sent to...
2.
Well...
Sherlock, think. We know what the fellows from the gang look like. You can easily blend in.
Ага. Ну, по идее, да. Можно замаскироваться под кого-нибудь.
Don't miss out. Let's pick something that suits you.
Угу. Смотри. Во, татуировка. Ага. Вот такое что купить?
A good choice. A good choice indeed.
Hey, stop.
Didn't see you either, mate. I'm John. Just shipped in from London. Cheap bastards had me sharing a bunk with two others.
Aye, that sounds like Bernadotte. Why are you here?
A problem at the refugee camp. I need to report to Mr. Bernadotte. The sooner the better.
I knew it was only a matter of time until those savages stirred up trouble. Go on, get inside.
You did it, Sherry. A full immersion into the criminal underworld.
А так бы была перестрелочка.
The silver and treasure, mate. Loads of pirate gold buried somewhere around, just waiting to be found.
It's all right. There's no treasure.
But maybe there is. I just need to crack the bloody riddle.
Sherry, look! This seems familiar.
Masks, traditional for the Chokwe people of Central Africa. A Dogon statue from West Africa. A century old at least. VH Grindley Flow Blue tableware. This is what lies behind the facade of Bernadotte Company Limited. An amazing piece of culture. I imagine many collectors and museums would be interested in having it. Let's see what's hidden there. Vogel's stolen painting. Isn't it curious how it developed into a much more interesting case?
Ну да, только сюда остается.
This marble fella, it's like he was made after my image. You see it?
Hello, friend. Tough day, eh?
This is it. This is where all the magic happens.
The Bernadotte Company Limited Trade Network reaches the most distant colonies of the Great Empire.
It must be very convenient for a man
Excuse
like
me.
Bernadotte.
Mr. Bernadotte is busy right now. Sir, you're obstructing the light. Could you step back?
I suppose it's Mr. Bernadotte with our fine governor. 1875. It's taken a few years back. John, how many people in Cordona have a photograph with the governor, do you think?
You definitely don't have one.
I don't know who you are, but someone will be punished for letting you in. First, let's talk.
Sherry, don't you think this office suits me?
Whenever you're ready. I'd hate to intrude.
Niccolo Bernadotte, I presume? The name is Sherlock Holmes, and I'm afraid I bring bad tidings.
Is that so?
The man you sent to the refugee camp failed in his task. He impaled himself on his own blade. Clumsy and chaotic end.
For a man who just broke onto my property, you are more businessman than brute. You have my attention, Mr. Holmes. Do not waste it.
Mr. Bernadotte, do you know the name Boniface Mercurio?
I do not.
Mercurio was a local artist. Recently, a man broke into his apartment, ransacked the place, and killed him. The thief was looking for something.
You are testing my patience, boy.
In a moment, the connection will reveal itself. As I said, your man was found dead in the refugee camp. He was there to kidnap a woman, but the other refugees intervened to try and save her. The ensuing scuffle resulted in the man's accidental suicide. He sported the same tattoo as your men in this building. In fact, it also bears a resemblance to the one on your neck. Care to explain what business your man had with this woman?
You have no idea what you are talking about. I can assure you this was no kidnapping. The refugees in the camp are on edge. What happened there is a tragic accident, one I am not responsible for.
For what reason was your man there if not to abduct her?
Why would I answer? You are yet to justify your presence in the slightest.
I was hired, privately, to investigate the recent theft of a painting from an art gallery. My investigation led me to a man from your organization, and thus, to you, Mr. Bernadotti.
That is quite a stretch. Why would I need to steal a painting when I could buy anyone I wanted?
Interestingly enough, I spotted the stolen painting in your storeroom.
I buy and sell a lot of things, Mr. Holmes. Unfortunately, if this is true, it is not the first time I have been sold stolen merchandise. I presume you were hired by the owner of the gallery. So, this paint... So many words, so little action. When you barged into my office, Mr. Holmes, I got the impression you wanted to talk business. Now I see you had come just to talk. Tell me, is that...
It was necessary groundwork for what comes next. I have enough evidence to conclude that the gallery thief, the artist's killer, and the dead man in the camp are all the same person.
Your time is almost up, Mr. Holmes.
Before you draw your gun, there is one final detail I am yet to mention. The young woman your man was tasked to collect from the refugee camp had been defiled at a perverse masquerade party. That violation was captured in a photograph by Boniface Mercurio and used as a reference for his painting. The photo shows the attacker's face.
Finally. That's why you're here, Mr. Holmes. You have the photograph.
It is what your man was after when he broke into Mercurio's apartment, and it is what you're after too, isn't it, Mr. Bernadotti?
You have the photograph with you. How much do you want for it?
I am not naive enough to carry it with me, but I am yet to decide what I shall do with it. I know the man in the photo is a British envoy. What interest do you have in his downfall?
I must admit, I am rather impressed by how comprehensively you have pursued this matter. And so, you deserve the honest answer. My business dealings are often arduous in their bureaucracy. A man in his position, willing to look the other way, could ease my work significantly. In return, I will make sure no one looks his way either. A favor for a favor.
Also known as blackmail, the modus operandi of any true professional.
It was not originally my idea. Mercurio set things in motion, extorting the envoy for the most trivial of ends. Money. In response, the envoy hired my man to retrieve the painting and the photograph, eliminating Mercurio's leverage. I only learned the whole story after the artist was killed in his home.
And rather than extricate yourself, instead you took over Mercurio's venture.
It fell into my lap. As a businessman, I simply seized the opportunity. Now, how much do you want for the image?
I could not help but appreciate the collection of smuggled artifacts in your storeroom. You have rather diversified your business.
Oh, high and mighty of you, Mr. Holmes. Not all smuggling is immoral. I pay generous rates to developing cultures and spread their culture to eager buyers. And furthermore, I supply many immigrants with a taste of home.
A very convenient way of thinking.
I have traveled wildly, Mr. Holmes. I've seen people in far-flung lands for whom my services are a lifeline. Without them, they would starve. The tax on cargo is often so absurd that it would be more profitable to simply sink your ship than dock it in the harbor. And trust me, I am speaking from experience.
Why did you send your man to remove the woman from the camp?
Without a photograph, her testimony was the next best thing. Securing her was in everyone's interest. Victims and witnesses all too often disappear. I thought the girl was safer with us. I did not anticipate what would happen at the camp.
I saw refugees from the camp at your warehouse. They work for you.
I have made certain arrangements with City Hall and the police. Thanks to me, refugees can work and be paid. It's a pathway to freedom.
And how much do you save by capitalizing on their cheap labor?
I have heard no complaints. They seem happy just to get out of that slum.
Why should I give you the photograph?
Just name your price.
What if my price were not money? You claim to have connections, Mr. Bernadotte. Perhaps you could improve conditions for the refugees. Give them a chance for a better life.
Ha! I do have connections, Mr. Holmes, but help the whole camp? You are asking too much. I could, however, make arrangements for one person. The woman who was violated will have her own home outside the camp, solely for her and her child. She will no longer be a refugee, but a princess. That I can guarantee.
Is that really possible?
It will be neither fast nor easy, but I can do it. She deserves it, don't you agree? And as for her abuser, he will serve me as much as he deserves.
So in your plan, everybody will be given their due. Especially you, Mr. Bernadotte.
Seems like a fair deal, no? I doubt anyone could offer you better. Simply give me the photograph, and the world becomes a better place. I give you my word.
Мне кажется, можно это попробовать. Ай.
If I give you the photograph, how do I know you will not come after me?
Mr. Holmes, you are not a threat. The local authorities owe me favors. For all your confidence, you cannot actually harm me. Besides, I like you and your approach to business. We are not dissimilar. Pragmatic.
Ignore the just outcomes in what you have proposed. All right, take the photograph.
You are a hard man to read, Mr. Holmes. I couldn't tell if you actually had it. Fear not. This decision will bear its fruits soon enough. One more thing, Mr. Holmes. Now that I have the photo, you may as well take Mr. Mercurio's painting back to the gallery. Please, send my apologies.
Long Dark не начался?
Mr. Holmes, you've returned. Have you uncovered anything new about the theft?
I've brought news, but not all of it will please you.
Fill me in, Mr. Holmes. I won't shoot the messenger.
I located the thief, but found him...
Mr. Holmes, one presumes you were not responsible?
It was an accident at the refugee camp. He impaled himself on his own knife.
Life is nothing if not cruel and capricious.
I tracked down Boniface Mercurio.
I presume he wasn't delighted about the situation?
He was not having a...
Oh, sweet Mercurio. Perishing in the What about the stolen...
Yes, it's here.
Splendid! I'm most grateful, Mr. Holmes. It must have been a difficult task. Will you share your adventures with me?
I cannot, Mr. Vogel. The story is much like your undergallery. Not for everyone's eyes and ears.
So sometimes you do hide the truth. What has happened to your crusade?
I'm not on a crusade. I simply do not owe you the story.
It was not an attack, Mr. Holmes. If you've chosen to keep secrets, I'll respect it. Besides, the truth is often more boring than the mystery. No?
It is what it is, Mr. Vogel.
Well, now that we've resolved all of our outstanding matters, I have a gift for you. I took the liberty of having it delivered to Stonewood Manor. I am told it belonged to your mother.
And what exactly have you sent me?
Frankly, I'm not sure how to answer that. I trust you'll know.
Previously, you mentioned there may have been more to my mother's passing than consumption.
Мать кто?
It appears you were right.
Oh dear. I'd hoped to be wrong.
She was unstable, mentally unwell. She required sustained specialized treatment, but her madness persisted.
I knew that Violet had disappeared from the public eye, but had no idea of her suffering. I cannot imagine what you're feeling.
I'm fine. Thank you, Mr. Vogel. I am curious to see what you have procured.
Дети. О, боже. Так, можно вот эту штуку сделать. Ага. В смысле, реально, что они в час 30 орут? Ну, хотя суббота, типа выходной, наверное. Ты поднимись, ты поднимись и скажи им, какого дьявола ты здесь шумишь?
Does this poster truly claim that Cordona has a ghost?
Новое дело.
Unholy howls keeping you inside at night? Luigi can help. All ghosts gone. Meet on southern pier of the Silverton Port. Donations gratefully accepted. This town loves the supernatural.
Какой-то
All I
аферист.
see is another scam to disprove.
The world shrivels under a skeptic's eye. That's why you're so sullen, Sherry. You leave no room for delight in the magical.
I delight in making the unknown known. Let us begin by asking someone about the poster and then pay this Luigi a visit at the port.
А, ну давайте. Вот сюда нам надо, оказывается. Так, а это что такое? Новое задание?
I'm watching you closely, Mr. Holmes.
Чего? Что это? Кошмар.
Bismarck, it's the work of the siren, I'm telling you.
What's happened? Oh, who is it?
Получается,
Here to
мы...
gawk at the bloater?
Not at all, officer. Perhaps I can help.
Help with what exactly? Solving an accident? Fellow drank himself to death, literally. Case closed. It's not the first case, neither. A few days ago, another drunken sailor drowned himself in a fountain.
What can you tell me about the other sailor?
Nothing to tell. Some rich chap complained about a dead body in a fountain. Wasn't me who inspected the scene, though. Should have gone easy on the bottle, if you ask me. They get to shore, they start drinking like fish. Too bad booze doesn't make them grow gills, eh?
I would like to take a look around.
Go ahead. Just don't disturb the evidence, all right? I still have to write my report.
There's talk on the streets that a siren...
Siren? You mean the bird woman kind? Why, of course, we've got sirens aplenty round... Oh,
There's still some left, just enough for a tipple. Siren's song. The rumours weren't so absurd after all. It's a good thing the tide hasn't washed away the tracks. I should inspect them more closely.
Цианид в вине был.
The sediment contains cyanide. It turns out he was poisoned.
Didn't the copper say that fellow drank himself to death? He wasn't wrong.
Light tobacco with a hint of citrus.
Девчачья, да? Вон помада.
A bright red lip rouge mark. His whole body is tense, stiffened by rigor mortis. The face is frozen in a contorted smile. A kiss on the forehead is quite intimate, but the vulgar lip rouge suggests a different type of intimacy. Interesting. His fingers are clenched as if he's clutching to life even now. Worn, soaked boots, size 8. Something smells fishy here, and it's not brine.
Who is it?
Hobbies are a good way to take the mind off all the murders.
Who is it?
what now? I've still...
I hate to break it to you, officer, but it wasn't an accident.
Care to elaborate, smarty boots?
The bottle of wine I found near the victim had been poisoned with cyanide. He was dead before he hit the water.
Whoa, that's a twist. Any leads on the poisoner?
Nothing to put my finger on, but I might need to inspect the other drowned sailor.
Well, of course I won't stop you. It's not my case anyway. We had a complaint about a body in a fountain. Can't have bodies laying about in fountains, can we? It was somewhere in Scaladio, as far as I know. You think they're connected?
That is what I intend to find out. Thank you.
What's happened? Oh.
Killed with one perfect shot to each eye. Can you imagine? Killed with one.
Угу, еще одно дело. Так, недавней записью. Микрология. Скалада. Нет? А, наверное, в полиции надо. А может, от этих развалин, кстати, загадка-то была. Надо посмотреть потом.
Did you hear Basilio? Did you hear Basilio?
We've got to fall back, Sherlock. I think they're suspicious. Or they were checking you out.
Did you hear Basilio?
Блин, о чем его? Что-то уже соображал.
Did you hear Basilio?
Ага, не признает вину. Да.
Did you hear Basilio?
Блин, он познает вину.
Did you catch that, Sherry? I didn't. Better listen more closely.
Did you hear Basilio?
In the police. Let's pretend to be cops, eh? We can just stand around and look confused.
Харбор-авеню и Бескервиль-стрит. Ой. А, это вот здесь вообще. И как в этом фонтане можно утонуть? Вопрос.
Oh, look, they drained the fountain and removed the body. We're too late.
No matter, we'll work with what we have. Last week's newspaper, the front page reads, "Sky is the limit, Governor funds Arsenal's second airship."
Ага, такой же
Light
окурок.
tobacco with a hint of citrus. A bright red lip rouge mark. A broken bottle with no label.
Drowning in a 2 feet deep fountain. I've seen some things, but this really takes the biscuit.
No.
Drowning in a 2 feet deep fountain. I've seen some things, but this really takes the biscuit.
A worn leather tobacco pouch, salt stained from a long time at sea. A cotton shawl. Could it be our sirens? The victim won't be needing his cap anymore. I might as well take it. This wine, again. Don't sailors prefer spirits? Drained to the last drop. Ugh, the litter bin is right there.
You're not even trying, Sherry. Concentrate.
This sailor is another victim of the same woman. She poisoned him and pushed him into the fountain to make it look like an accident.
Sherlock, the spot where he fell. I saw something. Maybe you should take a look. Sherlock, the spot where he fell. I saw something. Maybe you should take a look.
Вилка.
Blimey, the great detective is baffled by a piece of cutlery.
A water-soaked matchbox from the Drinking Dutchman. Must be a local pub. Venetian copper soldi. Authentic, but worthless.
Юг Сильвертона у моста Виктория. А, вот этот паб. Но мне кажется, надо там переодеться под моряка. Чтобы нас туда пустили.
Can I ask you a question?
I'd help you if I could, but I know nothing.
May I ask you something?
I'd help you if I could, but I know nothing.
Time to check your who, what, and what, Sherry. Who are you asking about?
Could you help me?
Dressed as what?
No, honey, I've heard nothing.
Excuse me, just one question.
I don't know, but I'm sure there are others who'd be glad to help a fella in uniform.
Oh, I am bored. Call me when you find the answer.
I'm shipping up to Boston in a few days.
Are you able to help me?
I don't know, but I'm sure there are others who'd be glad to help a fella in uniform.
Pour me another, bartender.
What can I get you, mate?
Nah, I'm good. Don't want to end up like that guy who drowned in the fountain after having one too many.
Right, I know the fella. Shame, damn shame. But let me tell ya, it wasn't the drink that got him. 'Twas a curse.
You're pulling my leg.
No kidding, mate. You sail long enough, you start taking it seriously. He was from HMS Achilles. Some British schooner, nothing special. Except one of them Jack Tars shot an albatross. Everyone knows it's bad luck. Everyone. The dimwit brought the curse upon his whole crew. 3 are dead already.
Wait, I've heard of only 2 such accidents. Are you saying that another man drowned?
Drowned or not, they've all kicked the bucket. Just this morning, another member of the crew was found dead. It's a curse, I'm telling ya.
Yeah, we're obliged to find out if it's real.
It must indeed be the curse, but how do you know all that?
Why, he told me the whole story himself.
The victim told you?
His crewmate. The one who killed an albatross, Harry Thorne. He's renting a room upstairs. Every day, he gets completely rat-arsed, raving on and on about the bird around his neck. He's sleeping it off right now. But when the blighter wakes up, it'll be the same thing all over again.
Do you have a free room?
Certainly do. Dirt cheap. Here's the key. Go pick anyone you like.
Call me John the Cannonball. Do you like my moves?
Угу. Надо вот этого, значит, третьего найти еще. Квин-стрит. Так, смотри. Квин-стрит, около пересечения Говоренной. Квин-стрит. Ага, вот Квин-стрит. Глория Грейт. Ага, вот.
place stinks of urine and shit.
Well, if it ain't Mr. Smarty Boots. Guess what? You were right about the poisoning, but this time I'm ahead of the game. We've got another homicide on our hands. Same method, same everything. See for yourself.
After all this, I assume we're going to meet a werewolf next.
An empty bottle of rum. There'd be no sirens. A sharp, bloody rock stuck deep in the mud. The officer must have rolled the body over. He suffered a head wound. There's caked blood in his hair underneath all the mud.
Другое убийство уже.
Looks like he slipped. This was clearly an accident.
What did I tell you? We've a killer on the loose. I knew it.
That may be true, but this here is very clearly an accident. The victim slipped and hit his head on a rock. I would have thought it obvious.
Oh, you've got to be kidding me. I thought I had all this sewn up. But you just had to come along and make me look like an idiot. I hope you're happy now, genius. Just move along.
So it was a curse after all. The curse of clumsiness. I hope it's not contagious.
Oh, it smells of stale cigarettes and damp bed sheets. Not exactly the best place to stay in town. Oh, the smell alone makes me feel groggy. The photo of the cursed crew. Here's Thorn, and right next to him, our first drowning victim. Crew of HMS Achilles, Cordona, 1879.
The same as we saw earlier. She's pretty free with her kisses.
Perhaps too much for her own good.
Now we walk into a trap, guns blazing. The game is afoot, Sherry boy.
Well said. I think I'll borrow that line from you, old chum.
Oof, he's really gone on a binge.
He's out cold. No use trying to wake him.
If he stopped drinking, the entire alcohol industry would collapse.
Take care, lad.
Hey, Barking! Another one over here.
Help me, please.
I'd help you for...
Ну, мы уже замаскировались.
Good, but I know nothing.
Кстати, с бородой, хотя, типа, под него как раз надо замаскироваться. Так, где у нас? Сад наслаждения.
Could you help me?
Ah, I know this, yeah, let me help you.
What's up?
Come on over, lovey. Don't be shy. I can see you're off for some fun. Madame Pauline will see you right. Girls, boys, a bit of both. Whatever tickles your pickle, darling.
I'm looking for the girl who wrote this letter. Perhaps you know who she might be?
Let me see. No, I don't know, lovey. I have a Lizzie here, but I doubt she can even spell her own name. And what's all this nonsense about a special client? This is a business we're running here, not a charity. I don't see what you're getting at. I don't see what you're getting at. Cannot help you with this, lovey.
I'm looking for a specific girl. This is her shawl. Do you have any idea where she might be?
Ah, I know who you mean. It's the goody two shoes down the street. She's not one of mine, though. She's not even a working girl, if I say so myself. Trust me, lovey. We'll give you a much better time.
I don't doubt it, Mom, but I have to see her first. Thanks for your help.
Yeah, I think we should interrogate some of them. Well, hell, all of them. Too bad I have to look after you, Sherry, otherwise I might investigate a few of those ladies.
Hey, Fahad. Hi there.
Is this familiar to you?
No, honey, I've heard nothing.
Harry, it's you. I knew you'd come. It's been so long, but you haven't changed a bit. I don't suppose you remember me, do you?
You must be Eloise, yes? I got your letter.
Wonderful. No point beating around the bush then. I've missed you, love. I wonder if you still have your prowess. Why don't we go to my place for some wine and something extra?
I'd love to, but I...
Please. Let's go.
How could I refuse such an offer from a pretty girl like you? Let's go right now.
Wonderful. Follow me. It's not far from here. Here we are. Make yourself comfortable, love. There's wine on the table. You should have some. Loosen you up. Bring out your naughty side.
Won't you drink with me?
Absolutely. I'll join you in a minute. I just need to powder my nose.
All right then. I'll be waiting for you, pet.
Did you just call her pet? Seriously? Boy, you are truly hopeless, Sherlock. Did you just call her pet? Seriously? Boy, you are truly hopeless, Sherlock.
Siren's song. She is consistent, I'll give her that. The bottle was open and the cork replaced.
A fresh lick of paint, some warm touches, and anyone could call this place a home. A fresh lick of paint, some warm touches, and anyone could call this place a home. Hey, if you want to keep this stupid act up, you better pour out the wine, and quick. And done. No hard feelings, Mr. Fickus, right? Hurry up, she'll be out any second.
Ah, she's smoking citrus-flavoured cigarettes. The dots connect.
This lip rouge looks good on her. Just saying.
White powder with a bitter almond-like odour. These are no smelling salts. Need cyanide.
То есть они ее изнасиловали, получается?
Come on, hurry up. HMS Achilles, Friday, 5 p.m. She prepared for their arrival. The beloved child of a rich family.
Oh, here she comes.
Sorry for making you wait, sweetie. I hope the wine has kept you good company.
Oh, yes. I needed to wet my whistle real bad.
Splendid, Harry. Bravo. Refreshing, isn't it? Now let me refresh your memory as well.
I don't feel so well.
As well you shouldn't. But don't worry. It'll be all over soon. It won't hurt. Much. At least not as much as when you and your friends forced yourselves on me. Not as much as when you ripped away my clothes, my dignity, my life. I've hated you with all my heart. But not anymore. Now I forgive you. Truly I do. Let me kiss you good night.
Now, that would hardly be appropriate, miss.
Wait, what's happening?
It's time I drop my act. This beard is false. I'm not Harry Thorne.
Oh, I see. You're from the police then, yes? Here to question me?
There's no need. My name is Sherlock Holmes. I know that you killed Thorne's crewmates, and I know why.
Well, Mr. Holmes, you can save your breath. I won't deny a thing. But please stop tormenting me with this farce. Do what you must.
I will keep it a secret, but you do have to stop.
How can I stop now after all I've done? I thought it would bring me solace. Stupid. It is too late.
You cannot undo what you've done, that much is true, but it's not too late to move on. It's never too late.
You're right. You must be right. I knew it all along, I just didn't have it in me to admit it.
I'm glad that you do now. And here's your shawl. Try not to lose it again.
I won't. Thank you, Mr. Holmes. Thank you so much.
Это интересно было расследование. Ага, вот арка из камня, точно. Что издревле древних покой бережет. Могучее древо у старых руин.
I always admire the way you notice such details.
In such moments, I often recall Mother's voice teaching us of the importance of the smaller details. The world hangs on small hinges, Jim.
Even the most chaotic miracle becomes sequential when you take a closer look. I remember. Far over the misty water.
Так. Могучее древо у старых руин. Может, вот это? Вряд ли. Хотя, вот дерево. Но не то чтобы прям могучее. Вот это. Угу. То есть это все-таки эти развалины. А вот это.
Wait, what? Is this Mother's magnifying glass? How did it end up here? What happened?
Sherry, you really need to learn to let miracles happen. The whole world is one big, unresolved, chaotic miracle.
But they will become sequential if you take a closer look. I do remember what Mother told us, but that explains nothing.
Just let things happen, all right? Besides, this little miracle will look perfect in our manner, don't you think?
Так, ну, я думаю, все на сегодня. Завтра продолжим. Так что, всем пока, спокойной ночи.